Hello? Yeah, it's me. Listen, I need to tell you something before anyone else finds out. My wife, she embarrassed me last night. Not just at home, in front of all my friends. And trust me, this wasn't some little slip of the tongue. It was brutal. You want to know how a man's pride can be crushed in a matter of seconds? Let me walk you through it. I know. You're probably thinking, oh, another couple's fight. But this was different. This was the kind of humiliation that burns into your skin, the kind that makes your closest friends look at you differently. And the worst part? She planned it. I could see it in her eyes. You'd think after 10 years of marriage the battles would get easier, right? Nope. It's like she's been sharpening her knives for this very moment. But here's the thing. You're about to hear everything. The fight, the friends, the embarrassment, and the revenge I never thought I'd take. Stay with me, because this story isn't just about a marriage. It's about pride, betrayal, and a night that changed everything. And hey, before I spill the whole truth, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on the bell. Because trust me, you won't want to miss how this ends. You know, when people see us, me and my wife, they think we're the perfect couple. Smiles at family dinners, little jokes on Facebook, anniversary pictures that get all those heart emojis. But behind closed doors, man, it's a whole different story. We fight. And not the cute romantic comedy fights where you make up 2 minutes later. No. Our fights, they're like silent wars. Long stares, sharp words, and a battlefield where neither of us wants to lose. Now here's the thing. Last night's fight wasn't even about something earth-shattering. Crazy, right? It started over something small. A forgotten chore, a missed text. Something tiny that snowballed into a hurricane. You ever notice how the stupidest things can light the biggest fires? That was us. By the time my friends were due to come over, the air between us was ice cold. And listen, I should have canceled. I should have texted the guys. Hey, not tonight. But pride is a funny thing. I didn't want them to see me as the husband who couldn't handle his own wife. So I told myself, she'll calm down, I'll put on a smile, and everything will be fine. Yeah, rookie mistake. Because what I didn't know was that my wife wasn't planning to calm down. She was planning something else entirely. Something calculated. You know when someone is too quiet, too polite? That eerie calm before the storm? That's exactly how she was when the doorbell rang. She opened the door like nothing had happened, all sweet and friendly, welcoming my buddies in. And me? I actually thought, for a split second, maybe we'd dodged the bullet. Maybe she'd keep our dirty laundry hidden. But deep down, something in my gut whispered, "Don't trust this piece." And let me tell you, my gut was right. Because what happened at that dinner table, it wasn't just a fight, it was an ambush. A public execution of my pride, and it all started with one little comment. Now let's rewind a bit. Before my friends even stepped foot inside my house, the fight had already begun. And it wasn't loud screaming or flying plates, no. Ours was the kind of fight where words cut deeper than shouting ever could. It started in the kitchen. She stood there, arms crossed, lips tight like she was holding back a storm. I asked a simple question. "Hey, can you pass me the salt?" And she snapped, "Oh, now you want something from me?" Just like that. No salt, just venom. And here's the thing. I could have walked away. I could have shrugged it off. But no, my pride couldn't let that slide. I fired back. "What's your problem now?" Her answer? It wasn't words. It was silence. And if you're married, you know, silence can be louder than any scream. So we danced in that silence, back and forth, throwing little jabs. Every chore I didn't do, every mistake she thought I made, it all came rolling out like bullets from a loaded gun. And me?
Never make it.
I defended myself like a soldier trapped in a losing battle. But here's the scary part. Her eyes. They weren't angry eyes anymore. They were calm, calculated. Like she was already planning the next move. Like she wasn't just fighting me in private. She was preparing to destroy me in public. And of course, I didn't see it then. I just thought she'd burn out and let it go. I mean, don't most fights end when friends are about to arrive? That's what I told myself. Instead, when the doorbell rang, she turned off the anger like a switch, smiled, smoothed her dress, and for the first time that night, she scared me, because only someone with a plan could fake calm that perfectly. I whispered under my breath, "Please, not tonight, not in front of them." And she just looked at me with this tiny smile that sent chills down my spine. That smile didn't say okay, it said, "Watch me." And that's when I realized I wasn't walking into a friendly night with the guys. I was walking into an ambush, one I wasn't ready for, because once the wine was poured, once the laughter started, once the guard was down, that's when she struck. And trust me, you won't believe how she did it. So the door opened, and my friends walked in like it was any other Friday night. Laughs, handshakes, the usual backslaps. They had no idea the battlefield they were stepping into. To them it was just dinner. To me, it was a ticking time bomb. And my wife? She was perfect. Too perfect. She greeted them like a queen hosting a royal banquet. Smiling, pouring drinks, cracking jokes. Even I started to think, maybe she really did let it go. For a second I let myself breathe, but then, little things started. When one of my buddies asked how work was going, I opened my mouth to answer. She cut in first. "Oh, he's been busy. Too busy to even notice when the trash piles up." Laughter from the table. I forced a smile. Joke, right? Just a harmless joke. Except her eyes didn't look like she was joking. Next, she brought out the food. Everyone said it looked great. And then she said, "Well, don't thank him. He wouldn't know where the kitchen is if it hit him in the face." More laughs. My friends chuckled, thinking she was being playful. But me? I knew these were daggers. Sharp, deliberate daggers, and each time the table laughed, I felt smaller. Now, don't get me wrong, I can laugh at myself. I'm no stranger to jokes. But this wasn't banter. This was a performance. She was building up to something bigger. And the way she kept glancing at me when no one was watching, that confirmed it. It was like she had two faces. One sweet and charming for the guests, one ice cold just for me. I tried to steer the conversation, talk about sports, work, anything. But every path circled back to her little comments, her subtle digs. And my friends? They laughed harder each time, completely unaware they were watching my pride being chipped away piece by piece. And here's the thing. You'd think humiliation comes in one big blow. But no, it comes slow. Like water dripping on stone until the cracks show. That's what she was doing. She wasn't just embarrassing me. She was softening the ground for the kill shot. And I didn't know it then. But the next words out of her mouth would be the ones I could never take back. The moment she stopped playing around and went for the knockout. You know how a storm brews? First the clouds roll in, then the sky darkens, and before you know it, you're caught in the middle with nowhere to run. That's exactly what happened next. Dinner was halfway done, the wine was flowing, my friends were laughing, and for a moment, I thought maybe I'd survive the night with only a few scratches. I was wrong, because then she struck. It started small, like all traps do. One of my friends raised a glass and said, "Man, you're lucky. She takes good care of you." And I smiled, ready to agree. But she leaned forward, tilted her head, and with the sweetest smile she said, "Lucky? You think so? If you only knew the truth." The room went quiet. Even the clinking of forks stopped. My stomach twisted. I wanted to stop her, but it was too late. She had the floor. She began listing things, private things. How I forgot our anniversary last year. How I once asked her how to boil an egg. How I accidentally overdrafted the bank account and didn't tell her. Each story landed like a hammer on my chest. And the laughter? Oh, it came. My friends laughed harder with each revelation, thinking it was harmless fun. But me? I wasn't laughing. I was dying inside. And then came the kill shot, the one line that burned itself into my memory. She leaned back, looked around the table, and said, "Honestly, sometimes I feel like I'm raising 3 kids instead of 2. The table erupted in laughter. Jokes, high fives, smirks, all at my expense. And me, I sat frozen, my face burning, my pride shattered into pieces right there in front of the people I respected most. And the worst part? She never broke character. She smiled, poured another glass of wine, acted like nothing happened, while I sat there, stripped of every ounce of dignity. Now don't get me wrong, every husband gets roasted once in a while. But this wasn't roasting. This was execution. She wanted me on the floor, broken, and she got it. I looked around the table, hoping someone would change the subject, give me a lifeline. But no, they laughed. They teased. They joined in. And I sat there, a prisoner in my own home, while the woman I loved twisted the knife deeper with every word. And here's the thing, humiliation is fuel. In that moment, I felt the burn, not just of anger, but of resolve. Because right then and there, as their laughter echoed in my ears, I made a decision. I wasn't going to let this slide. This wasn't just a fight anymore. This was war, and if she thought she had won by embarrassing me in front of my friends, she had no idea what was coming next. When the laughter finally died down, I sat there in silence, fork in my hand, food untouched. Eyes glued to the plate like it could swallow me whole. My friends kept talking, still chuckling over her little 3 kids line, tossing in their own jokes now. "Hey man, maybe we should get you a babysitter too," one of them laughed. Another added, "Guess you're not the man of the house after all." Each joke was another nail in the coffin. And the woman who hammered them in? She sat there calm and graceful, sipping her wine as if she had done nothing wrong. It's hard to explain what humiliation feels like in real time. It's not just embarrassment, it's a slow death, a death of pride, a death of respect. And as I sat there, I realized something terrifying. The friends I had invited to my home no longer looked at me the same way. Their eyes carried pity, mockery, amusement, but respect? Respect was gone, and she knew it. She knew exactly what she'd done. When the dinner plates cleared and the night wound down, my friends left with wide smiles, still laughing as they walked out the door. And me? I stood at the doorway, forcing a grin that felt like it was carved into my face, but inside I was boiling. The second the door clicked shut, the silence returned. You'd think she might apologize, explain, maybe even soften. But no, she just looked at me, shrugged and said, "What, can't take a joke?" Then walked off like nothing had happened. That was the moment I broke. Not out loud, not with shouting or fists slamming the table. No. I broke inside quietly, where no one could see. And in that quiet, something dark started to grow. I realized I had 2 choices. I could swallow it, live with the humiliation, pretend it was just another fight. Or I could do something about it, something she wouldn't see coming. Because here's the truth. Every insult has an echo. And hers, it echoed so loud inside me that I knew I couldn't stay silent. That night, as she slept soundly beside me, I lay awake staring at the ceiling, planning. Not out of hate, not out of anger alone, but out of survival. She thought the war ended at that dinner table, but she was wrong. The war had only just begun. I didn't sleep that night. My body was tired, but my mind was on fire. Every laugh from my friends replayed in my head. Every word she said cut deeper the more I thought about it. And lying there in the dark, I made a promise to myself. She wouldn't get the last laugh. Now, I'm not a man who believes in screaming matches. I've learned they go nowhere. But humiliation? That deserves something different. Something calculated. So I began planning. The next morning, I acted normal. I made her coffee, kissed her cheek, asked about her plans for the day. You'd think I was the same man as yesterday, but inside I was sharpening my blade. Because the best revenge isn't loud. It's silent. It's patient. It waits for the perfect stage, and the stage I chose was her own circle of friends. You see, she had her own little dinner planned with her girls the following week. I told her I'd drive her there, maybe even stay for a bit. She thought nothing of it. Why would she? I was playing the loving, supportive husband. But here's the thing. Revenge isn't about cruelty. It's about balance. About showing someone the pain they caused you. And I wanted her to feel it. Every ounce of it. So I prepared stories. Embarrassing little secrets she thought were safe between us. The ones she'd never want slipping out in front of her friends. I rehearsed them. Not as outright attacks, but as innocent little comments. The same way she had done to me. And let me tell you, it was almost too easy. When the night came, she was glowing, laughing with her friends, completely unaware of what was coming. And when the moment was right, I leaned back, smiled, and said, "You know, it's funny. But no, I'll hold that line for now. Because the truth is, revenge isn't just in the delivery. It's in the waiting, the build-up, the moment before the strike. And when it came, it was sweeter than I ever imagined." She thought she owned the stage, but I was about to flip the script, and trust me, she never saw it coming. You know, people always talk about revenge like it's some sweet victory. Like once you get even, the world feels right again. But the truth? It's never that simple. That night with her friends, I pulled the same stunt she did to me. A few well-placed jokes, a couple of innocent stories, and the laughter quickly turned. Except this time the target wasn't me. It was her. And as her smile faded, as her friends leaned in, laughing at her expense, I should have felt satisfied. I should have felt like justice was served. And for a moment, yeah, I'll admit it, I did. Watching her squirm, watching her taste the same poison she gave me, it was powerful. But here's the thing about revenge. When the laughter fades, the silence creeps in. And in that silence, a different question started echoing in my head. What have I done? Was I any better than her now? Did I prove my strength? Or did I just prove I could be just as cruel? I looked at her that night, eyes downcast, cheeks flushed with shame, and I realized something chilling. This wasn't just a fight anymore. This was war. And wars don't leave winners. They leave ruins. Maybe I wanted her to hurt as badly as I did. Maybe I wanted her to know I wasn't weak. But at what cost? Respect, love, the marriage we'd built for years? That's the thing about revenge. It doesn't close the wound. It just cuts deeper, in a different place. And as much as I wanted to call it justice, part of me knew it was only the beginning of something darker. So I'm left asking myself, and maybe asking you too, when pride takes over, when humiliation drives us, do we win by striking back? Or do we lose everything in the process? I thought the war was over after that night. I thought my revenge had balanced the scales. But here's the truth. Scales don't balance in marriage. They tip. And ours tipped further than I ever expected. Because a week later, she struck again. Not with words, not with laughter, but with silence. Cold, suffocating silence that filled every corner of the house. And in that silence, I realized something terrifying. She wasn't done. Not by a long shot. You see, when two people love each other, fights are supposed to heal. But when pride enters the room, love quietly slips out the back door. And looking at her across the table, eyes hardened, lips pressed tight, I knew we had crossed a line. Maybe you're waiting for me to say we reconciled, that we laughed about it later, that love won in the end. But no. This isn't a fairy tale. This is real. And in the real world, humiliation doesn't just vanish. It lingers. It poisons. And the scariest part? Sometimes the person you trust most becomes your greatest rival. So if you ask me who won, her or me, my answer is simple. Neither. Because in this war, the only thing that truly lost was us. So what do you think? Was I wrong to fight back the way I did? Or did she cross the line first by humiliating me in front of my friends? Maybe you believe revenge was justified. Or maybe you think it only destroyed us both. I want to hear from you. If you were in my shoes, what would you have done? Stay silent, walk away, or fight fire with fire? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because trust me, I read every single one. And if you want more stories filled with suspense, betrayal, and twists you won't see coming, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Because the next story I tell might just change the way you look at the people closest to you.